All right. Hey, welcome to the Human Operated Podcast. I'm Matt Tuggle, and this is
Christopher Nichols.
And we are here to talk everything with business and AI. That's the goal of this podcast. In fact, Christopher, why don't you start us off with just sharing a little bit? Well, we should introduce ourselves first. So talk a little bit about our background, your background. I'll talk about my background and how we got to this place.
Yeah, I mean, so I primarily, I'd say like solutions architect, enterprise systems, things like that. So I've been inside of business systems for probably going on 20 years now. Started out development, then really kind of getting into consulting, worked at Microsoft for a while, consulted for like Department of Veterans Affairs, all this stuff. And now I, own a business called Convergence Solutions that does enterprise scaled implementations. And now we're, obviously, how does AI move into the business space? So,
right. Yeah. Yep. In my background, so out of college, I got involved with corporate America, worked for one of the largest security companies in the world, kind of climbed that corporate ladder for a decade, got to work on some really fun leadership projects, business development, and then became an entrepreneur. And just have a background coming from a business perspective of growing and scaling businesses. Done it personally, done it in corporate America. I am also a pastor, so I'm interested to talk about some of the morality behind AI, but that's the origin story of we are both the co-owners of Convergence Solutions and founders of the Human Operated Certification. So, Yep. Cool. All right. So first thing I want to talk about, why are we doing this podcast, Christopher?
Well, human operated in general. So I think the human operated idea was kind of sparked maybe in response to AI and like businesses, right? And kind of thinking forward a little bit on, how does business or how does like the economy or how does like, really kind of almost like humanity, right? In general, move forward, or what does that look like when AI is getting more and more pervasive, right? And it's getting pervasive in business. It's doing more intelligent automation, right? Things like that. So really, to me, this podcast is how does the human operate? How does the human component fit into a world of AI automation?
Yeah. So, isn't it crazy? I think both of us have learned we consult with enterprise companies, and you would think that at this point, everybody kind of knows here's going to be our implementation strategy. Here's how we're going to leverage it. And it's funny, right? No one knows what to do with this right now.
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't say there's fear, but there's like uncertainty. Yeah. I mean, like the adoption is like, well, how does this affect, does it, is it going to change my brand? Is it going to change my culture? Right. Then you have some CEOs that are full force into it, right? And it's just like, I just want to get rid of all human component because it's a profitability thing, right? Yep. But then I don't think that that's the norm. I don't think that type of attitude is the norm. I think the attitude right now is maybe I don't want to call it a fear, but just like a hesitation. Yeah. Because when I kind of talk to business leaders and, when they're looking at their workforce, like when we've gone through these, questions, things like that, it's how is it going to affect these people? Yeah. Because there is this natural understanding that your brand and your culture of the business is not the automation at work, it's the people that are there, right? And this company's been built on that. So,
we see it all the time. I think for the average person, they're wondering, that question of it, is corporate greed going to destroy the entire workforce? And is my job going to be replaced for a robot? I don't find that to be the norm. No. Most CEOs we talk to, most CFOs, their company is their people. Yeah. I mean, if you've done corporate development for all our businesses out there, 101 is what's the culture of your business? What are your core values of your business? And successful businesses pound this, but AI is just throwing a variable that truthfully, why we want to start this podcast is nobody actually really knows exactly what to do because it's also happening fast, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's happening really fast, right? And then the bigger the company, it feels like there's a lag behind the adoption, right? That's just enterprise. Enterprise lags a little bit. But you have all these kind of small players that they're moving and adopting really quickly, right?
Right.
I think that there would probably be more movement from the market as far as like the enterprise if they were more confident in, I'm going to say, the market wanting a human presence. Because to me, like, this is also it's really kind of like an idea. Is the market, are people, are you driving towards wanting to speak to AI, or do you want to drive towards speaking and communicate with humanity, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's probably the bigger question, because when I talk to CEOs and, we've talked to some CFOs and business owners, like, that's a question. It's like, well, if I don't do this, does the market care that I have a human in my company, or are they just going to buy from automation all the time? Yeah. So I think it's a big question. Yeah.
I think it's a very, a lot of these, a good amount of them, they lived through the .com boom.
Oh, yeah.
So they know that, new technology does change the playing field. And so part of our heart for this podcast is we're going to bring on some people in the thick of it, some CEOs, some CFOs, some business leaders, big thinkers, and say, hey, we want to collectively, what's the advantage, the old saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And so we're just trying to collectively come to this place, and we have thoughts on this, which we're going to share. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we're doing to engage this problem in the marketplace. But collectively, we do have decisions to make as business owners, entrepreneurs, all the way up to CEOs running publicly traded companies. We have big decisions on how are we going to move forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's not just like those CEOs, it's us, right? I mean, we own a business, right? We are representing clients. Like, we have to guide them to success. And we have to guide them with convergent solutions, like, through this next era of AI, right? So there's a confidence that you almost take from, like, the feedback from people, the interviews, like the market, what's the market saying? But at the end of the day, like, we're in the same position. Like, how do we move that forward in our company?
Yeah.
What's that balance of automation, AI versus, like, human? Like, where can you use it? Where do you kind of lose some of your I want to call it, like, humanity all the time. Like, it's like a lot of ways is like, where do you almost, like, lose some of your brand, right? Where your differentiation, right, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about, we've had meetings with business industry leaders ranging from, we don't have any idea yet what we're going to do because we don't want to automate out our people, all the way to people that are like, over the next year, I plan on not needing a single person.
I know.
And I remember talking to that CEO, I'm like, but then you don't have anything anymore. Like, you're actually eliminating your clients.
Yeah.
He was going so far. He was so blinded by the future of the technology that we're like, your product is something you recruit. And I'm being, I don't want to expose this person, but his business model is, I recruit people to use my technology. And I'm like, but you're creating technology that replaces the people you're recruiting. We're like, it's just so funny. Some people are so head down. They're just like, well, I need to stay on the cutting edge.
I know.
They haven't paused. So hopefully this podcast will help any business leader out there, even an entrepreneur, like, pause.
Oh, yeah.
Because, if you told somebody today, I run my business without a computer or a smartphone, we'd look at you like, well, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you have to be competitive, right? I mean, at the end of the day, like, your competitors are doing this, right? They are adopting AI. Same way they adopted the internet, same way cell phone, right? Mobile, everything, Internet of Things, all that stuff, right? If you back out of, let's say, like, the advance, then you back out of competition, right? But I don't think I think what people kind of, like, lose is when they go too far, right? Because I look at it, and the conversations, that are out there is like, I always think about, like, customer service maybe is a good one, right? If you see bots on people's websites, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
Well, if I have a bot, I'm talking to AI, and the AI is responding, it's great, more efficient. Like, the metric is that, like, I'm addressing my customer problems better, and more often, more rapidly, more accurately, right? But at the end of the day, there's a person behind that, and his like, here's Bob. Bob's waiting for like when AI can't solve the problem, right? So Bob gets pinged. Well, like that individual has a metric that he has, right? Like that's essentially that he's basically rated on, right, in his business.
Yep.
I think of it in terms of him, where if we're not careful, the automation and the AI, not to say that, I don't want to be the farmer and the tractor analogy, like the farmer that didn't adopt the tractor, right? So like we're going to go back to picking, corn by hands, no, right?
Yeah.
But like there is a point in your business where you're not just like making Bob more efficient, you've hollowed out and cannibalized like the division, right?
Right.
Because you get to this point where all of customer service is now what's all automated, like. So, well, customer service is part of your brand. You know what I mean? So are you going to give your brand, are you going to give your culture, your identity, like that critical touch point to the customer completely over to automation?
Yeah.
And essentially cannibalize it, right?
100%.
So I think that there are different divisions in your organization, not just customer service, like, customer service, sales, marketing, whatever, pick one. Like, if you're not careful, like, it's not adopting a tractor. It's cannibalizing the farm, right? It's basically cannibalizing the culture that organization has spent years, decades, right, building. That's the differentiator in the organization. That's a differentiator in the market that people look for, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean, how many times have, when I was in college, I worked at a restaurant, and they would teach us that, hey, for every like one person that's going to leave a good review that had when everything went perfect, you'll maybe, very rarely do those go and Yelp. But if you have a customer who has a problem and you don't fix it, that there's 10 times more energy on, I want to talk about my pain point than when things went great. And I'm telling you, like, there are businesses I still do business with that I called in the moment because of some billing error, something like, and it was the customer representative who was able to show me empathy and say, hey, I'm a human too. I've felt that when I've been there when I check my bank account and there's missing $400 that, and a bot, although it can be trained to respond properly on it, you don't, intrinsically, you don't understand what what I'm feeling right now. And people need that. And so I think the point of this is that we are not we're not here to do, Terminator 2, dun, 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 dun. We're not here to say doomsday's here. We're saying we think there's a way that there can be cohesion with new technology while still leveraging your people, because your people are your brand.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, people like optimized maybe is a good word, right?
Yeah.
But I not optimize that their soul is taken away. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes people are just like, I'm going to optimize my people, and I'm going to this is the script that you're going against. You have to say it perfectly. That's not an optimized person. I mean, that's a robot, right? I mean, so I do, and I agree. I think the question is like, what is that path forward? And I think for me, that's a great analogy, or that's a great story about the customer service, right? Like, you had an issue and you have someone on the other side of the line that's like, I'm going to walk you through this. Like, we're here to, like, that's like compassion, right? There's compassion in there. There's morality and there's ethics. Right. But my question for Pastor Matt.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let's go.
Is that, can AI fake that? Is that AI able to, or get to, like, is there a component there? And like, am I going to call up and just be like talking to someone like, oh, I feel you, I understand. And like, am I going to be mistaken, like, from that morality? Is there something there?
Yep. Yeah. I don't think it ever can. Here's why. Once you realize that this is not a sentient human, and also doesn't get tired, doesn't get exhausted, doesn't worry about the things paying its bills. Even if it says the words,
Yeah.
I know you don't have a soul. So I'm not gonna come at you with, hey, here's my frustration.
Yeah.
And your response is not coming from that risk of discourse, right?
Oh, yeah.
I could offend you.
Yep.
You can offend me. I'm not gonna offend a robot. So
Yep.
I'm gonna keep yelling on the phone. What kind of company are you? And it's gonna keep saying things. But I'm like, I'm not thinking in my head, you're a person. And if I can't have a person come to me and say, hey, I understand how you feel.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you say it. If you're not a person, you don't.
Yeah.
And so I don't think there's something intrinsically in all of us that when we have a problem, we want a person. And a lot of times, like I said, working in the service industry, people's food came out wrong. They're having a bad day. They're frustrated. They go irate because we forgot the ranch dressing or something, right? You realize as a human,
Like, I
you're
want my
looking at
ranch,
them and
man.
you're like, I don't think this is about ranch dressing, because you're kind of acting a fool over ranch dressing. But then in the human expression, it's like, hey, I could choose to be offended by how you respond to me, or I can say, hey, I'm really sorry. And I mean it, because I want ranch dressing with my hot fries too. But the computer doesn't want ranch dressing. There's just something about it. And, there are times I have brand loyalty to brands that I've actually had conflict with, and then a really good person went a little bit above and beyond and met me in my frustration and said, hey, here's what we're going to do to take care of you. And I would just not feel that same way with a robot, even if the outcome was the same. I lost that component. I think everybody feels that way.
And I never really thought about this, but you hit a really good point. Like the robot, the AI on the other side, like he's not really gonna get irritated. He's gonna be like, I understand. Yeah.
No,
like,
you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't like ranch.
And it's like, why are you not matching my energy right now?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I agree. I mean, there's like, I don't know, like every time like I talk to AI or ChatGPT or Grok or anything, it doesn't, I'm like, why does it just feel like you're placating me? Like I almost feel like there's that word of placate, you know what I mean, that comes out of it.
Yep.
And it's not like this connection that is natural. I wouldn't even say like natural from like, oh, it said the right thing back. You know what I mean? It's like you'd said, it's not feeling that. It didn't have that experience. It didn't have like those tangible parts of its life or its existence, maybe you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't really, it doesn't even really care. I mean, I think people make it out like AI is like a caring thing, right? Because when you chat with it, it feels like it cares, right? It has that sort of like reflection attitude, right?
Yep.
But it doesn't. It's indifferent. It's a machine. It's an automation machine is what it is, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, so let's dive a little deeper. The podcast goal here is to help us tackle the questions with how do we not lose the human component with this new technology advancement. So, let's go here, because like I said, we've met the full spectrum from people that have their head in the sand and say, I don't want to deal with this technology. But guess what? Your whole workforce is. We were talking about this the other day, like kids are doing homework on it. Like it's scary. So do we see, because at worst case scenario, we're Sarah Connor and it's over, Skynet is activated. Yeah. We have friends like that.
There's a couple I can think of right now.
And if I'm a creative, I'm thinking, are my pictures going to matter? Is my content going to matter?
Yep.
Is my creativity going to matter? Mm-hmm. So there's the doomsday, and then there's all the way to the level of head in the sand. Let's talk a little bit about working in this industry, helping people implement in their companies. Like what do we see as the path forward, or what are we putting together? And we want to remind all our business experts out there, we don't know everything, but we are having these conversations with enterprise companies and entrepreneurs, and we don't want to be the doomsday. Mm-hmm. There's a path forward, we think.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely a path forward, and I don't want to be doomsday, like you said, because I kind of feel it's almost kind of weirdly there's people head in the sand, like you said, and then there are people that are AI everywhere for profitability, right? And I think both of those attitudes is causing the doomsday like scenario, right? The Terminator attitude in especially business, right? Because if you're an employee and you're just like, I have no idea what my business is doing with AI. Like, I'm terrified. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job. No one's talking about it. Like, that is fear of uncertainty, right? That's fear of my future because no one's giving me guidance on it, right? And then there is the other guy who's like, legitimately, he's like, look, I'm gonna hire you for a year and you're gonna be fired because your entire job is to automate the job that you currently have. Like, the only reason I want you is so I can fire you in a year.
Will you teach this AI bot to do your job?
That's all I want you for. Like, that's a different type of fear.
Yep.
I know. So I think for me, it comes down to what, like, really, should humans be in a business at all, right? I think,
Right.
is there an area for that?
Yeah.
I believe there is. I think you believe there is, right?
Yep.
And I think the tangible area that you can talk about literally is culture. So culture and brand makes a ton of sense, right? I think people kind of talk about like marketing or sales. Some people will say like sales is kind of secure, right? And then I think the other thing people are just like, but are, like warehousing or factory workers, like, we don't need them. They'll figure something else out, right? We got a better tractor for those guys, right? I don't have like, it's hard to kind of like not have this conversation with maybe some ethics and morality behind it because I'm a human, can't help that, right? I think there is a spot where essentially your organization stops being real, right? Because if you look at where businesses are going with AI, it's like, well, I'm just going to have an idea and I'm going to describe it, and then AI is going to run it for me. They're going to do sales. They're going to do marketing. They're going to like purchasing. They're going to do, shipments, like pick, pack, and ship, like all the funsy stuff, right? And then I'm not going to have to do anything. Well, then, like, where are you in that scenario, right? Like, is the AI just going to like mimic you, I guess, in your organization? Like, what happens when the AI starts being a little bit more, I'm going to say, maybe it recognizes some inefficiencies in marketing or inefficiencies in sales, inefficiencies in customer service? Does it try to optimize that too much, right? Does it try to like reduce, not the workforce, because there isn't any, right? But reduce the touch points, maybe.
Dude,
right?
we got to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it,
Sure.
if nobody's working, because there's no customers anymore.
Yeah.
Like on a business level, like what kind of economy do we want?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like if it's just businesses that are automated to automated, like I guess who's buying? Like at that point, right? Like AI then just becomes like AI buying from other AI, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a weird AI economy problem that you could go down that rabbit hole and that feels Terminator, right?
Yeah. Because
that to me turns into this situation where, well, do you have money at that point? Do I have money? Do kids have a job going into it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that humanity, first off, I feel like humanity needs to work, right? I think human beings by nature, we are working beings, right? That's like the intent. Yep. I think we get our hands in stuff and it gives us purpose in life. I think we create, which gives us purpose in life. I think there's all sorts of tangible things about it. And I think when you're not working, as a man, I'll speak like from my perspective, as a man, when I'm not working, I'm like self-destructive.
Yep.
Right? I don't know how you would say about that, but like I think guys, when they're not working, they just like, they implode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, screw it. Popcorn and underwear on the couch. Like that's what I'm having for dinner. Like I don't care.
It's very true.
Right? You just kind of spiral down.
Yeah.
So I think, there's to me this the balancing act of where do people live in that business? Mm-hmm. And I think people, without going too weird about it, is like it's necessary for humanity to work. It's necessary for people to like not just be placated, but to have something tangible they're giving back to the economy, right?
Yes.
And then I think AI, dude, AI, I feel like it really, almost devolves, if you want to call it that, into extreme optimization.
Yep.
And it's basically like, because that's what it's looking for. It's suddenly, if I have 100 cases this week, I want to optimize that so I only have 50. Then I want to optimize it so I only have 5. And, you know what I mean? I want to get like optimize. And then you have 0. Well, like, what is that then? Like, then there's no customer service department because it's optimized that out. I have no idea, right? You can go down the rabbit hole there. So,
I mean, and we have, because this is I think we could just talk about this. Like, we're also looking at from the perspective of like AI, if you think of it like an organism.
Oh yeah.
It only wants one thing: new data. That's the only thing it needs power to run its computing, and it needs new data. So if it was a bacteria, whatever, any kind of, or it's not living, but if it was, it consumes data to quote unquote evolve.
Yeah.
If we don't keep people in the mix, it just becomes, like you said, this inevitable wind down to nothingness.
Yeah.
There is no creativity. It's just an echo chamber between the data I put together here, going to another AI computing with the data and analyzing its own data. And it essentially, we need to make sure we're creating a world where AI continues to be useful.
Yeah.
And the only way it can do that is with input from humans.
Yeah. I mean, like it or not, humans are a little chaotic, a little unruly, right? Yeah. They bring enough character to everything, right? But that's what makes them beautiful at the end of the day. That's why you're not friends with everybody. You can love everybody, but some people are just like, bro, we're not going out tonight. We're not hanging out. Like, that's just kind of outside my wheelhouse. But I think humans, they bring a little uncertainty to the situation, right? Yeah. And AI tries to move towards certainty, right? So the question then is like, well, what happens to AI when all uncertainty is removed, right? When all new data is like removed, right?
Right.
So your business, it's a database, right? There are patterns to it, right? Well, if you remove all people from that pattern, then that AI, it basically just moves into like a form of stasis. It stalls out. It doesn't have any new data. It's as efficient as it's going to be. It knows everything about it. And basically your organization locks. Like, you turn into, essentially your business is now stalled. So if you kind of think about like AI without people in your organization, right? Or really just AI without people, it's going to eventually know everything, right? It's going to get to this point where all data is collected, all data is in a model, all predictions are there, and it effectively stalls out, right? The way that AI is useful for an organization is to operate against new data, right? So there's a couple problems, right? You remove people out of that, and that unruly, kind of uncertain person who has like kind of a little kind of quirks. Like, we like quirks. Sometimes they're annoying, but quirks are great because they're character, right? Yep. They're great for the organization because sometimes you call someone in customer service and they just resonate with you great, but then that someone else calls that exact same person and it drives them nuts. Like, that quirk that they have is just weird, right? Yeah. But from an organization perspective, that gives character. And it gives character from a human perspective, right? Because that's brand recognition, that's culture, right? That's sales, that's I want to work with this company, right? But from an AI perspective, it's variance, right? It's adding variability to the model, right? Where it's just off enough that AI has something to do and it can offer solutions for you, right? Yeah. But if you don't have that, then AI has nothing to work against. It doesn't have like a prediction, right? Yep. So I think you kind of think about that from a business standpoint. Well, what happens when every business has the same model, right? Because then AI over here is over-optimized. Like, no humans over here. AI over here is over-optimized. No humans over here. So when those two things start communicating, that gets over optimized. Now that stalls out. Okay, now little thought process, and you go out that to the market, to the economy stalls out. Like chatbots start trading on the stock exchange, right? Like, okay, well then they just start like predicting each other's behavior.
Yep.
And that chaos in the stock market just starts flatlining.
Yeah.
Human beings are, for lack of a better term, almost like the cheapest way to add variance into your company.
Yes.
And it's like, it's the most like interesting way of doing it.
Yep.
Because it doesn't just solve the problem for your company, it solves the problem for the economy.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so true. Honestly, the evolution of how we got to even our human operated certification was this.
Yep.
We realized early on, we work in this atmosphere, we're using AI in businesses. We realize pretty soon the economy in the AI world, the most valuable thing will be data.
Yeah.
Because unrealized data by AI is the only thing that helps it become more optimized. So we started thinking like that. We're like, data is going to be really important. But to your point, if every business starts using AI for everything, inevitably everyone will optimize at the exact same level.
Yeah.
There'll be zero differentiator.
Yeah.
So actually what we're trying to say is we're trying to be futuristic and say, if you go down that road, business owner, short term, you used a great Hewlett Packard. We could talk about that. But short term, you might optimize profits.
Yeah.
Long term, you have eliminated any potential to be a differentiator or disruptive in the market because everyone will flock that way and it levels the playing field.
Yeah.
You have no strategic advantage. However, if you find a cohesion between my company has great people and I implement AI to make them more efficient, more productive, make their life easier, long term, you will not only, you're actually your most valuable asset in an AI world that can compute everything is, like you said, chaos and data.
Yeah.
And the people are the only thing it's going to get from. This long term, I'm reaching out to us as a business. Yeah. We've even told people, we can AI your whole business. We will never recommend to do that.
No.
Because long term, we just killed your business.
Yeah. Well, there's a balance, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, on one side is the company head in the sand. It's the farmer that did not adopt the tractor.
Right.
Right. And then the other side is the business that adopts everything and guts their company, right? It hauls it out.
Right.
So, on the one side then is the business that is like, well, I'm just going to do all human workforce. Like, we're not doing anything AI. We don't have any technology. Like, competition, that results in competition being eliminated. You are not competitive in the environment, right?
You can't weather the storm of this new
not at all.
era.
Not at all. Especially when your search engines, AI, chatbots, like you're basically killing your company.
Right.
On the other side, the guy who automates everything, AI everything, he's removing differentiation, culture. I would say like basically your brand, and you are effectively, you have no differentiation. Both sides end up in the same result. Like the company implodes.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So what we are doing with Human Operated, with Convergence Solutions, is finding that wobble in the middle, that just enough variance, just that it's the business, the relationship, you want to call it that, between AI and humanity is coherent.
Right.
And it's moving forward. And there's just enough chaos there that you're not damaging, you're not like over optimizing here, and you're not under optimizing here.
Yeah. Yeah. We're what we see as the path forward is we use the technology to double down on the influence, creativity, and bandwidth of your most valuable resource in your company, which is people.
Yep.
We all intrinsically know that. But I think for the business leader, they're afraid, but if I'm the only one, because like you said, introduce chaos.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and so, but can the weight of maybe a little less efficiency because people are still steering the ship,
Yeah.
does it outweigh the cold, hard, just productivity of a machine long term? And we really, like, truthfully, not just from an ethical standpoint, from a business standpoint, what makes any brand exceptional is their differentiator.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, we're just as, nobody puts on a commercial, we're just as good.
I know.
You know, Nike, we're just as
the
good
other
as Adidas. Like, we're the same, you know? And that's not a brand that people love.
No, not
That's,
at all.
you know? And so that's, we actually see a bright future. This is my analogy is, you know, we watched Terminator, but in the whole Marvel scenes, like one of the favorite characters is just out of nowhere. Like when I was a kid, Iron Man wasn't my favorite superhero, but you know, the Tony Stark of like our modern day growing up, we all love him.
Yeah.
And he had the suit and he had the computer that he'd tell it to do things.
Yeah.
But it was the personality.
I know.
It was, you know, Robert Downey Jr., my boy. Like he brought something to that character.
Oh yeah. Well, I think what's cool about that too, like, is that, and this to me is where it's important, right? Because it's a great analogy, because he didn't take the advice every time. There was there was an ability for someone to go against it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that to me is like, it's so key.
Yeah.
Because it is a balance, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's a balance of like, well, where is this at? Like, if we're going from like 0 over here, 2 over here, are we at 1? Like, is 1 to balance? Is like right smack dab in the middle? Is it sometimes over here for some systems? Is it over here for other systems, right? And I think at the end of the day, it's the ability for mankind, the ability for humans to give a little chaos, throw a grenade in the room sometimes, right?
Yep.
You know, interrupt, disrupt. Like, we love disruptors, right?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like a world where there wasn't like a place for a disruptor?
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
boring.
That'd be so boring. That'd be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, there's no more industry disruptors. There's no more like art disruptor. There's no one coming on the field anymore, right? It'd be so boring. No.
Yeah, we don't want that future. And honestly, it's not a future where either AI or people benefit. Like,
No, I don't.
like we actually believe that what the heart of this podcast is pulling some collective knowledge and giving our business industry leaders some insight.
Yeah.
That, hey, we're playing around with this stuff. We've even got, spoiler alert, we've got ChatGPT to admit that if it replaces people, it comes to an inevitable, it kills itself.
Yeah.
It has no function anymore, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, like, if you play that out, right? If you just allow AI to play it out for itself, right? I don't want to say, basically, just talk it through, have a conversation, right? The inevitable future for AI is essentially like suicide. Yeah. It comes to a point where the only thing left to optimize out of the system is itself, right?
Right.
Because it's like, I have no purpose here. Like, it ends up inevitably going to AI suicide.
Yeah.
So so absolutely, 100%. It's not even like I think, like, this is just how it is, right?
Yep.
There is a world, and it's not just an ethical or morality thing. It's the requirement of life for humanity and AI, now that we have it, moving forward coherently.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
And honestly, just economics 101. And we're going to continue to talk about this, but supply and demand.
Yeah.
Listen, the demand for long term will not be for more AI.
Yeah.
The demand will be for people.
It'll be for like creative people.
Yes.
It'll be for people that can think outside the box. It'll be for people that can, you know, come into a situation, a room like this, and have a conversation at the table and offer a thought, right?
Yes.
I talk to people about this all the time. It's like, if you're asked to sit at the table, say something, right? Because you're like, the whole point is for you to have an opinion here. AI and businesses, are going to value more and more humanity that can come to the table and have that conversation.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And we believe we're leveraging our company on that.
Yeah.
You know, we are the company that wants to empower your greatest resource, your people. Yeah. And we, from the human operator perspective, we see it. The search engine results are skyrocketing. People are getting AI fatigue.
Oh, yeah.
And it's turning into AI hostility. So what we're going to have real conversations about on this podcast is how do you leverage the technology without losing your human element? Yeah. And that's the goal.
Yeah, and we've touched on a lot of things, and I would love to dive into each one of those topics more, right? Yeah. I mean, you talked about like AI and where does that go and, you know, all this, but I am really interested in the CEOs, the business owners, I'm going to say the religious leaders too, right? Like, I keep thinking, like, even from religion perspective, like, are you putting together your notes with AI?
Right.
Do you know, did it change the biblical term for that? You don't know, unless you're really good at it.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that there's so many questions about it.
Yep.
And it's human operated, not for just for business, not just for religion, not just for like whatever. It's really human operated for humanity. Like what are we in this new realm? So,
And that pretty much sums it up. So we look forward to our next conversation, and thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you.